Hello and welcome to Lifetime Uncorked, the podcast where we discuss your favorite made-for-TV movies. Whether you love to hate watch or hate yourself for loving them, pour up a glass of your favorite cocktail and join us. I am your host, Patrick Serrano, and my guests today are...
I am Drew Curran.
And I'm Rebekah.
Yeah. Rebekah is here again.
I'm back.
This is the
fourth
episode of our eating disorder series called... Eating Disorder Series.
Congratulations, we're halfway through.
Eating Disorder Series.
Yeah, series.
I would put the effect on there, but
we don't.
I didn't get there on time.
Be respectful, Drew. We're talking about a serious topic. Don't put an echo on it.
But it needs to be echoed out into the world, man.
That's true. We are echoing our thoughts out into the world on a real disease that real people, have to deal with in their lives.
This is a fake podcast, but this is a real disease.
Yes.
That we're talking about.
So if you are struggling with an eating disorder, anorexia, bulimia, overeating, oh my God, what is that noise? And whatever, you should call 1-800-3... I inverted my numbers. Sometimes I'm dyslexic.
Yeah.
That's like an eating disorder, right?
That's also an eating disorder.
Okay, great. Good to know.
If you read it
Right.
weird. Yeah.
Yes. So 1-800-931-2237. If that is you and you need help and we love you and you're great.
Call that shit. 24 hours, dude.
Yes. 24 hours.
And if this is a topic that is going to trigger you in any way or you just can't handle right now, it's fine.
Skip that shit.
We'll
Totally
be back
fine.
We'll
next
be back.
week.
Not offended. But you should listen to the episode or at least rate and review us on Apple Podcasts.
We've had
With
more,
emojis.
We've had more average downloads for these specifically.
That's good, but also not good.
Well, it's like
It's good.
Maybe it's good. I think it's good.
Yeah, I hope we're helping. It's helping me a lot. Talk about these things because I have never talked about these things publicly with anybody.
No, me neither.
Same.
So now I'm telling thousands of people.
Yeah.
So, great.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Cool.
Yep.
So it's kind of scary, but it's good. It feels good. But I'm also in a good place with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is, for me,
Coming from
it's been a long time ago at this point because I'm 20 and I had an eating disorder when I was a baby.
when you were a baby.
No, we'll talk about my specific
I
story.
think you keep getting younger.
You're right. I keep getting younger. I will be talking about the next movie we're going to be doing is called The Perfect Body, so I can relate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually about an athlete, so that's kind of where my story kind of comes from.
Okay.
So I will talk about more personal stuff on the next episode. Teaser again, because I'm a horrible person and I'm teasing an episode that's upcoming. Please listen. Tell your friends.
That's how you keep listeners.
Right. Right. So yes, but no, seriously, we are here to talk about For the Love of Nancy today.
For the love of Nancy.
That's right, Drew. I love how you said it so sexy. That's not what you were doing, but I know what you're doing. For the love of Nancy.
Oh, for the love of Nancy. Jesus.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. This movie came out in 1994. It aired on ABC originally.
It's a year older than me.
There you go. Me too.
Oh.
And
me too.
so it stars Tracey Gold from Growing Pains, if you do not know. Also, Joe Clayburgh, a very famous actress in her day. Cameron Bancroft. He's a guy who you would know, Drew.
Is that the dad?
The dad.
He was a president on 24?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy's
And he's
all
good.
over the place.
He's good. And then finally, Mark-Paul Gosselaar from Saved by the Bell.
What?
Oh, yeah.
What? It is.
Yes,
It
is.
is.
He's there. So
Get it.
I think that's why I loved this movie when I was a preteen or whenever this movie came out. I don't know how old I was in 1994 for real, but I was like, oh, Mark-Paul Gosselaar, yes.
I'm not asking for spoilers, but at any time during this movie, did he go, time out?
No.
And everything. No, okay.
It didn't happen. No Saved by the Bell references. This is Zach Morris moving away from being Zach Morris. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
He's taking a dramatic turn.
I'm going to do some acting.
And it was probably before Saved by the Bell, the college years, but
Yeah.
in between high school years and college
Trying
years.
to get there. Okay.
He was trying to do stuff, and then he's like, you know what? I will come back for the college years
And he was like,
and
time out.
make that money.
I'm going to learn how to act.
Man, Saved by the Bell, that show.
That show.
I'm sure they had an eating disorder episode on that.
This is
show.
I don't know what this is funny to me.
Yes.
The director,
Yeah.
Paul Schneider.
Yes.
He was like the main director for all of Baywatch.
Really?
Just thought that was kind of funny for like what we're talking about.
Then that
Yeah.
explains a lot.
Okay.
It really does.
Cool.
This movie, as far as like a film, put a cork in that.
Just as a film.
Yeah.
We're
Gotcha.
supposed to save that for the end.
I know, but I'm saying like as a film, like did this movie have any like artistic merit?
Oh, no.
My
Oh,
answer
yeah.
would be absolutely not.
I feel like
Literally
I feel like
done.
most of these, just as a film, is not a.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll jump in. We'll share our thoughts. We have lots of things to get to today. We're doing lots of different things. So we start off with Nancy, played by Tracey Gold. What is she doing at the beginning of the movie?
You know this, Drew.
Running.
Yep.
She's running in gray sweats, literally gray sweats, in a very affluent suburb now. This is
Yes.
different than the previous movies that we watched because I felt like this was showing that you can be a rich white person and have this. Okay?
Yeah.
It can affect you, white people, watching this movie who are rich, who are very rich. Because the dad pulls up in like a new car and he's like, look at
Yeah.
this new car I got. And they're like, oh, we're doing great. We're living the life.
Yeah.
It was really weird that it was like very set up to be affluent people.
Yeah.
You know? And Tracy, or whatever her name is, Nancy, it's in the title, Patrick. Nancy is a normal teenage girl, okay? She's very excited to go to prom. She has a dysfunctional mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
And her,
Although her mother does say that black is the primary color, so who are we to argue?
right. Sure.
That's not. Just listeners, just so you know, it is not a primary color.
Right.
No. The primary color.
The-
Oh, the primary color. I guess that's a different. I guess it's different. way
So,
to say that.
yes, the mom's name is Sally, by the way. And also, you know, Zach Morris is Tracy Gold's brother in this, okay?
Are we only
can
gonna
we-
call him
Yeah,
Zach
can
Morris?
we refer to
Yes.
him as?
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
great.
So we jump right into prom. Like, not even like 5 minutes in, we're at prom. I'm like, oh, here we are.
So running, boom, prom.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And, well, there's like some talk about the dress because like the mom wants her to wear the black dress. And Nancy's like, I'm going to wear a red dress.
Yep.
You know, Scarlet Letter, something. If they were like trying to do some symbolism, that's what they were doing, okay? But
Nice.
you know,
Yeah, I
they
missed
weren't.
that.
They
No, they
weren't
weren't.
doing that.
No.
That is not a thing that was happening. So at the prom, everyone is line dancing because I guess line dancing was big in 1994.
I mean,
Who knows? Who knows?
yeah.
I wasn't alive.
I wasn't alive yet. I wasn't born until 2000.
Exactly, me neither. So as the night's winding down, Nancy's like with all her friends and they're like sitting on the lawn outside of prom and like, aren't you excited to go to college? And she's like,
Nah.
I think I'll just live this life forever. I never want anything to change and I don't want anyone to go and I love everyone and I don't want my life to change ever.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Because, you know, everybody wants to stay in high school forever.
Yeah, because high school was the best year of your life.
She literally says she sees her future as a big blank.
Yeah.
And she wants to stay 18 forever. Okay.
It's fair, man. Fair. I get it. I get it.
I don't know.
I mean, I get it.
I was 18 and it was not a good time.
No.
You know? And I was like popular, air quotes, but it was like stressful. It's a stressful
It's
time.
stressful to be popular, you know?
Well, I related to her because she's going to college and like everyone's expecting her to go to college. And this was like super stressful time for her because she doesn't really want to go to college or know what
Right.
she wants to do.
Right.
So she's kind of like,
And she's not going with any of her friends.
Right.
Like, she doesn't know anybody where she's going. But it's not far from where she lives.
no.
Okay.
But like she's very resistant to this whole
So
thing.
it skips
Yeah.
to like, so she knows what college she's going to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
it's like prom is like the last thing of the school year.
Oh,
They don't graduate; they just go to prom.
it's prom. Prom
Yeah.
is the
They
last
skip
thing.
graduation.
Yeah.
They didn't have the budget for that, so she goes to the dentist and gets all her wisdom teeth out at once. I've had my wisdom teeth out, and let me tell you, they do take them all out at once.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that was such a big deal that they emphasize it. Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
took them all out at once. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why
They're
you.
like, no, that's how you do it.
Yep.
That's why you
how
go
it
into
goes.
the surgery for it. Yeah.
Yep.
So Nancy is working as a waitress and she blames her not eating because like everyone at work is like, oh, Nancy, take your lunch break. And she's like, I can't eat. My tooth hurts.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're like, it's been like 3 weeks. You should see the doctor about that. That's not normal. And she's like, they hurt too much to eat, but you know, I'm going to go for a jog. So she goes for a jog and she's like avoiding her friends because they're like, come out with us. It's summer. Let's have a good summer. She's like, no, I have to jog. I have to jog. She's very obsessed. And she goes home and like they're having lasagna and she's like, I can't eat. My jaw hurts. And everyone's like, oh, that's fine.
Just take an aspirin. I'll leave some on the stove for you. Like, very passive.
Yeah. No one's like concerned about this at all. Her parents do notice that she has the college jitters.
Yep.
And they're like,
right. The college jitters.
She's like, we're going to send her off to college, but she's really nervous. So her mother, Sally, is like, I don't understand why you would like want to go to college and like live in a single dorm. You should like, go be meeting people.
She's so excited because when she gets her dorm assignment, she's so excited because she lives in a single dorm, and her mom doesn't understand. And I can say living in a single dorm was the best part of my college experience. So good job, Nancy.
There you go.
Wow. Okay.
Get it done, Nancy. So the mom's like very judgmental of like all the things, anything she does, the mom is like,
There it is, yeah.
saying like,
kind of the
what
trope,
is
right?
wrong with
Yeah.
you? Why are you doing it that way? And
Disapproving mom.
Nancy's like, ugh. So she just says she wants her privacy, And by privacy, Nancy means, throwing her food in the toilet. That's
Okay.
something she does. And weighing herself and,
jogging.
jogging
Just jogging all the
all
time.
by herself.
Yeah.
But her brother, Zach Morris, comes and he's like, hey, you look pretty good. You've been losing weight. And it's kind of that thing of like
Yeah, you're like,
complimenting, reinforces. And she's like, but she lies. And she's like, oh no, I'm like 120 pounds soaking wet or whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not losing weight. You're crazy. And she gets on the scale and it's like 114. It's like, dun, dun, dun. So she gets to college and she makes a friend named Allison. Okay. And the girl's like, Nancy is nice and all, but all she does is jog and study.
Yeah, and the friends are like, she study, jog, jog, jog. That girl is weird. And that was it. That was all the description we got of Nancy from her friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she
And-
doesn't spend any other time with them.
No, she just goes to her room. They're like, hey, Nancy, you want to slice the pizza?
So she takes a pizza, and then she folds it up in a paper towel and throws it away.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. She's hiding it.
She's
hiding
hiding
it, man. She's hiding it.
So and this is the thing with like anorexia, like you do find weird ways to like hide food,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, oh yeah, I'm eating, or like you move things around on your plate and you're like, yeah, I totally ate.
Or weird like social engineering of being like doing things to make it look like you're eating.
Yeah, but it
Yep.
never
But
actually.
you're distracted.
Yep.
You're like, so what is
Yep.
this thing?
And then you just push it around so it looks like you've.
Exactly. So I mean, that is like a whole nother thing that movies never get right,
Never.
because there's no way that they can actually depict that.
Yeah.
But it is a very common tactic. So Nancy goes home for the weekend, and she her friend shows up, and her friend's like, how's college? What's going on? She's like eating some Cheetos or something, and Nancy's like, you know how many calories are in that?
And she's like measuring her wrist with her fingers, like wrapping her fingers around her wrist, like watching her friend eat.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Like,
Weird.
That's a
Okay.
thing.
Is that a thing?
Like,
yeah.
Doing your fingers to see if your fingers touch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like to see
Yeah.
how big your wrist, because like,
I feel like
I
it's more how long your fingers are.
It is.
It is.
It's actually your bone density. It tests your bone
Yeah.
density to see if you're like thick boned or like whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think big boned is the term that people say anymore, but it
Yeah.
is like if you can
Your
touch your
bone
fingers,
density.
you have like small bone density, but if you can't really, then you have bigger bones.
Or you just have like smaller fingers. I don't know. Look,
yeah.
I don't know.
there's a lot of things wrong with this.
Either way, she's watching her friend eat and is very like physically uncomfortable in the way she looks. Like that's
Okay.
I think what they were going for there.
And her friends like they're just chips. You're only young once. Like relax. I'm gonna eat. And Nancy's like drinking a diet soda.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just gonna drink this diet soda.
And her friend is also like not at all overweight.
No,
Right.
not at all.
Okay.
And like they also, this is like their only other interaction.
Yeah.
the friend's like, I'm done with her. She telling me not to eat chips.
Yeah, I mean, because I'd be, right?
Right.
Like, it would be tough. You'd
So
just be like, "You're
next-
telling me to, I'm eating, fuck off. Get out of my home.
Yeah.
Get out of my house.
Okay.
They were at Nancy's house.
They were at Nancy's house.
Oh, okay.
So
Get out of your house.
Nancy's dad buys a plane because remember when I said they were rich? He just buys a plane.
Buy the plane.
And
That's what I do.
they all go out to dinner to celebrate, and they're all making fun of Nancy for not eating. And she's like, "You guys are stuffing yourself like pigs. You should know what a calorie is." She's basically like telling everyone like they're wrong.
Yeah, being like all judgy and stuff.
Right. Well, because she like knows about what's healthy.
Right.
You know? Because she like has learned, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And,
Obsessive research.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Totally. And she goes to at the gym. Nancy's mom, Sally, is like working out. And I was like, oh, we're going to see like the mom has like a compulsive thing too, right? That was what I thought it was going for. But no. Phyllis, Sally's friend, is like, I've noticed your daughter has been looking really thin. And I asked my friend, who's a psychologist or something, and she says that your daughter's anorexic.
Yep.
And Sally's like, not my daughter.
Absolutely
Not on my watch.
not.
How dare you bring this up to me? You should get off this exercise bike right now and come fight me in the parking lot.
Yep.
So
Pretty
then there's a
much.
big old brawl in the
They have
parking
a
lot.
huge fight in the
Yeah.
parking lot. They're hair pulling,
It's
like
like
very
brutal,
dynasty. They like fall into a
realistic.
fountain and they're like, all wet.
It's all one shot, brutal,
This is
realistic.
the
fight
director
shot.
of Baywatch. So,
Yeah.
then they get into
It's all in
bathing
slow
suits,
motion.
They're running in slow motion. Yeah. This is where he honed his skills,
Yep.
you know? So
He also directed Daredevil. Yeah,
Yes.
So
Sally also mentions that Nancy is just stressed because of college.
Yeah.
And she's coming home for the holidays where she can take care of her and it'll be better.
They can fatten her up, send her
Yeah.
back to college. It'll be fine.
we'll fatten her up, send it on back.
And Sally tells her husband, she's like, Phyllis said this at the gym. And the dad's like, well, she lost weight and doesn't she look great? And the mom's like, you're right. She does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let
Nothing to worry about.
it go.
Thanksgiving happens, our favorite holiday in these movies. And Nancy has another brother. Who was that guy?
Was that?
The brown-haired brother? Or was
that
he
the-
her boyfriend?
Was that the like prom date?
I don't know.
This guy just showed up mid movie, and I have no idea where
Yeah,
he
I'm
came
like,
from.
I think he's a brother, but maybe he's her boyfriend.
Who knows?
Who knows? Who cares?
Ah, okay.
And he finds that she's been like taking food off her plate and putting it in a napkin in her lap and hiding the food and then like going to the kitchen and like throwing the napkin away with all the food in it.
Yeah.
And he's like, this has to stop. This has to stop. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it. I didn't want it. I had to put in my napkin, you know?
Yeah.
And the parents are like, what's going on in here? And she's like, nothing. Don't worry about it. And I guess the guy's name is Patrick, which I didn't like because then he had my name in the movie.
Yeah.
She's like, Patrick doesn't know what he's talking about. And then
And you're like, fuck you.
I'm like, yes, I do.
Oh, wait, this is a movie.
Yep.
And she goes and like she runs at the track at school. So she goes to the track and like runs up and down the stairs to like burn off the calories she didn't eat at Thanksgiving, you know?
Yep.
So now it's Christmas. And I'm like, oh, Hallmark is going to happen now. We're going to get our flower fight. We're going to get a gingerbread building competition. That's
If
not
only
what
we could
happens.
be so lucky.
I know.
I would kill for a Hallmark Christmas movie right now.
Yes, lighten the mood. Sally goes upstairs and
Me
she
too,
has a dress
to be
for her daughter.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, knock, knock. And she opens the door and Nancy's in front of the mirror in a bra and panties. And I guess, I don't know if we would say panties. I don't know the appropriate female lingerie things.
She was in her underwear.
Thank you.
Her undies.
And
Yeah.
she's like, get out of here, Mom. And the mom's like, oh my God, you're so skinny. What happened? And she runs downstairs to talk to her husband. She's like, I just saw Nancy and she looks like a skeleton. And then Nancy comes down the stairs. She's in the dress and she really does look insanely thin.
Yeah. The first shot in the mirror that we see, I didn't like notice.
Uh-huh.
Like it didn't look as bad as it was or
Right.
like was supposed to be from the front angle there. But it was when she turned around in that strappy dress that I
Yes.
was like, oh, those are shoulder bones.
Right.
Like the real bony.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And like this is where we should mention that Tracey Gold, the actress, was in like the throes of recovery while she made this movie. Okay, so
Yep.
the actress really had an eating disorder. She was on growing pains, and again, some reviewer or something called her chubby, and she started losing weight on that show. And then she got this movie when she was going through recovery to like, I guess for self therapy. I don't know why she did the movie, but she is clearly a person that has an eating disorder.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no makeup here. In
Like-
the IMDb, it says it's makeup. I'm like, you can't. No,
You can't.
you can't do that.
You can't put that much contour in to like slim somebody
Yeah,
to bones.
that would be hard to do
yeah, 'cause
without
even,
like CGI.
Yeah.
But in 95?
Yeah, 94.
94?
Even
Nah.
her arms, like again from the front, they don't look that. But when she turned to the side, like her arms were just so thin.
They're just like,
It's shocking. It's shocking. And like, we haven't talked about Thinspiration yet, but I think this movie would be like a Thinspiration
yeah.
movie. So that's like an epidemic where on the internet mostly, it's like, I guess, young women or men like posting like really skinny people and like as like an aspirational thing.
Yeah. The kind of
yeah,
bullshit that's like nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. That kind of
like a Kate Moss type of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
Which is such a fucked up quote.
Yeah,
So
it's the worst.
fuck you, Kate Moss.
Yeah,
You
that's
suck.
horrible.
But yeah, and they do talk about Kate Moss. They're like, oh my God, you're so skinny like Kate Moss. And
Yeah.
yes. So
Don't say that.
the parents sit her down and they're like, promise us you'll get better. The thing that everyone says in these movies. And
Yeah, she's like, I am.
yeah, I'm going to be
Like,
fine.
I'm getting better. I'll do it myself.
Yeah, I'll eat more. I'll just eat some things. Well, that's
is
the
it
thing. It's
her
like you could
uncle-
just say, "Oh, I'll just eat more."
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Great.
Is it her uncle who first suggests the
Yeah.
inpatient treatment?
I don't know who that guy was.
I think it's her
it was like
uncle.
her old boss, or an uncle would make more sense. But
Yeah.
it was some man is like talking to Sally. He's like, you need to get your daughter help. There's an eating disorder clinic that I know of, and you should put her in there. And then he goes to Nancy herself, and he's like, you can tell your parents all you want that you're going to get better, but I know that you are not, and you need serious help.
And she like breaks down.
She has
with
a
him,
breakdown.
Like
She
yeah.
says it's a war going on in her head, and she doesn't know how to stop it. And I thought she did a really good job. In
Yeah,
this
I thought that bit of monologue that she had too about the inner conflict that an eating disorder causes between like your logical conscious brain and the disorder.
Yeah.
A lot of people will describe the eating disorder as having its own voice, like telling you not to eat or telling you to throw up. So I thought that kind of, because in the other movies we didn't really get that. So I think in this one, that inner conflict is shown
Well,
very
it just
well
sounds
in
like
that.
a lot like it's like an addiction. I mean, it's an addiction,
Right.
and not an addiction for a thing. It's an addiction
It's not.
against a thing, you know,
Right.
or
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
because like, hey, look, I can say like, I have to make myself drink only when like 5-ish, like
Sure.
after 5.
You mean
Because
like-
otherwise, my rational self was like, Drew, you don't. It's gonna be a mess if you start drinking at
Yeah.
noon.
Sure.
You're right, but then if I, you have to just kind of like, hey, buddy, hey, little voice or whatever. They're
Yes.
just like, hey, come on, man.
Well,
It's your day off, bro. Bro,
Right.
you can drink all day, bro.
now would be a great
Yep.
time to play our clip that I brought today. It's Tracey Gold, the actress, talking to Dr. Drew in more. She's like grown,
and
grown
not
now.
this Dr. Drew.
Not you, Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew from like Dr. Drew.
From Dr. Drew.
So we'll play a thing because they're actually talking about what we're talking about. So I'd rather put it in her words for the clip. Here we go.
I felt so stuck. I didn't know how to get out of it. It's everybody.
So you did kind of want to get better at that point.
I didn't want to let go of the disease, but I was fearful for the place I was in.
Okay.
So I thought that I could maybe kind of balance it better.
It's like the alcoholic trying to drink responsibly.
Sure,
That kind of
absolutely. And I thought that, like, if I could just, gain a few pounds and get everybody off my back, but I couldn't. And I was so stuck.
And did you have that body dysmorphia where you saw yourself as overweight too, even though you were so skinny? You didn't have that piece of it?
No. Okay. I saw myself as thin, but every weight I hit, it became my new normal. So I was afraid to change it. And I felt thin, and I felt like there was such fear of changing the way I looked.
Now, do you think some of that, like the celebrity images we got Miley Cyrus and Kelly Clarkson, they're being criticized for their weight being too much, and then everything that young girls see in the magazines, here we go. People,
they're there, yeah.
Yeah, the people in magazines, though, they're all stick figures and unrealistic images. Yeah, those are normal, healthy young adults.
And that makes me so mad.
Yeah.
I mean, I just get so angry in that you have to be a young girl, especially like a Miley Cyrus who's so young, and she has to stand there and defend herself because she doesn't look like she did when she was 15. Which the body doesn't look like it.
And by the way, there's an interesting note out there statistically, which is that while women all feel like they want to lose weight, men actually prefer women with a little bit of weight on them.
Yeah, and the funny thing is...
Shut up, Dr. Drew.
We can stop there.
And he ruined it.
Yep.
So, well, we were getting to like some good stuff there, right?
Yeah. It's interesting, too, that they talk about the comments that are being made in magazines and on TV and stuff about young women's bodies.
Right.
Again, not something that should be commented on, but
Ever.
critics decide that that's something that
Yep. Never,
it's
ever,
an easy target. It really is.
I mean, it's so easy. It's such a bullshit easy thing. Like it's like I can't even, I don't know. I can't think of an analogy of how like is this going?
Yeah. It's just face value.
You're stupid.
Well,
Right.
Or whatever. It's like, hey, 4 eyes. You have glasses.
right.
4 eyes. Like,
Yep.
what?
You're right.
I was never called 4 eyes.
I was.
Ever.
Yeah.
In my
I've been called everything in
Ever.
the book, okay?
You've been called 4 eyes?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. When I played Frosty the Snowman in 3rd grade, I thought I was like really popular and amazing. And Debbie Lee, saying you by name, bitch. She was like, everyone's been calling you 8 eyes because I guess they didn't even do the math right. I had my eyes, my glasses, and Frosty head, so that would be 6 eyes. But I was like, oh my god, people are calling me 8 eyes. That's so mean.
I mean, 6 eyes is pretty good.
Right. Okay, Drew is my bully.
All right. So moving on.
Anyways, so Nancy gets admitted into this eating disorder hospital. The man who plays the doctor is like somebody who's notable. He's done a lot of stuff, but like sci-fi stuff that you would know. And he is like telling Nancy that they'll get to the bottom of it, and she again wants her own room in there, and they do adhere to that and give her own room so she can carry out all these kind of like ritualistic things she's doing with her food. And we'll get to like the crazy stuff she does later, but the goal is to like get her to a target weight and then get her released.
Right. A lot of the treatments in these movies too, especially in the movies, they focus so much on the physical symptoms.
Right.
In this movie, like we don't get a lot of, there are a couple of group therapy scenes in this one, and it's like the therapist asks such leading questions that are like, oh, so you don't have control, and this why you're sick. Like it's the textbook reasons. It's that statistical dialogue. But we don't get a lot of the like behavioral therapy, which is where a lot of the progress comes in eating disorder treatment. It's really all about making them eat and making them gain the physical weight back.
Right.
Just like,
which is
doesn't
important.
This steak
but
look really good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
well, in Nancy, they like ask her like, what does recovery look like to her? And her response is fat.
Right.
Oh.
You know, because that's what Tracey Gold was saying in that clip. Like every time she would get lower weight, that would be like the weight that she needs to maintain. I relate to that a lot.
Very much. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like when she says like that. So I got down to that, and then I was like, well, this is normal
this
now.
is what I weigh, and I can't ever gain a pound above that ever.
Right.
It
So
is like such a mindfuck.
Starting to. You'd freak out if you gained a pound over your normal, your now new normal
I'd say
weight.
I still do that to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I shouldn't weigh myself. I don't weigh myself as much. But when I'm getting weighed at the doctor, I'm like, ooh, I don't really want to know. And you can do blind weigh-ins, by the way. If anybody is like going to the doctor and you can just ask to do a blind weigh-in, they'll like have you like turn around and they won't tell you what it is. And that's like kind of what I do when I go to the doctor.
Yeah. Usually like, I don't want to know.
Well, yeah. Like, I don't need to know.
I try to think of it as like when you get on a thing, you're just like, I don't want or need to know how much the earth is pulling me towards it.
Yeah.
Sure. Because your weight has nothing. It's more about like.
It's a look. You're right. It's like
It's how you're
if
feeling.
I'm stacked, if I'm just ripped and stacked, I'm gonna be heavy.
Yeah.
But I don't care how heavy I am. I just right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. So Nancy also does. This is when we see like her crazy, crazy, not a good word to use. Her ritual habits of like hiding the food in the napkins, and she's like, nurse.
She does that here, like in the middle of the dining room in eating disorder treatment. Like grabbing
That would
just
feel like-
handfuls of food off her plate and putting it in her napkin.
And the nurse is like right behind her. She's like,
Nancy,
come on. For the love of Nancy, put the food
love of
back.
Nancy, put it back.
But this is when they like take it to the next level. They're like, you're gonna be in your room.
Yeah, she asks for the food to then come to her room because she's too weak to go to the dining room. Again, she's getting weaker as we go.
Like very weak, like always cold, like in blankets, and they're like, okay, well, you can be in your room, we'll bring you the food, but we're gonna lock the bathroom door so you can't throw the food away. We're gonna like hide all the trash cans and stuff,
And lock the windows so
Lock
she
the
can't throw it
windows.
outside.
She punches a hole, I don't know, with her hand or with something.
She like uses a shoe as a hammer and something else as a chisel, and like
And she creates
puts
a hole in the
wall.
closet
Wow.
and hides the food in there.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah.
So going to extremes, but again, this is that like ritualistic behavior.
Yeah.
Right.
You will do whatever. You will throw up in jars. Callista Flockhart. That's a movie we're not covering, but she would throw up in jars and hide them in her closet so her mom wouldn't know that she was bulimic.
Right. Like she'll do anything to get rid of the food other than eat it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
She's real creative though.
When I was like
I mean, yeah.
going through this whole eating disorder thing, I would like eat food and like spit it out because I'll just like taste the steak and then not eat it. That was like my like ritual.
That was
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah, because then I could like taste it, but then not
You're like,
eat it.
delicious steak, but no.
Right.
Right.
And there's like a Sex and the City episode where this guy does that, and Miranda's like, "You have an eating disorder," and he's like, "No, I'm just living in LA now, and that's just how it is here." And it's like, no, that's an eating disorder,
No,
though. So yeah, okay.
That social commentary.
I mean,
Yeah.
living in LA could be considered an eating disorder
All right.
by itself.
So I mean, yes. So
I'm making fun of LA.
there
not
we
eating
lost
disorders.
the West Coast
right.
listeners.
Yeah. Sorry, LA listeners. You were
Sorry, guys.
we love you. So
They get it. They get it.
Nancy runs in place by her bed and all this type of stuff. She pokes holes in her feeding tube. It's like getting out of hand.
Yeah, like she has a safety pin that she cuts the IV tube with.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And she gains enough weight somehow to get out of there. So she checks herself out. She gains 6 pounds. She's like, I'm out of here.
She didn't check out, or she checked herself out.
Right.
She didn't. The doctors didn't like release her.
No.
It was like, I'm 18 now. I turned 18. I have power.
I do what I do.
When she found out she gained 6 pounds, you could see like little panic on her face. She's like,
Yeah.
6 pounds? Oh my God.
Right.
You know? Whoa. So her mom's like, did the doctors like say this was okay? And they're driving, and she's like, no, but I'm gonna be better and I'm gonna be fine. And the mom gets home, she dials up the doctor. She's like, what the fuck, doctor?
Take my daughter back.
For the love of Nancy,
For the love
why
of
did you release
Nancy.
her?
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, I didn't. She signed herself out. She's 18. She can do whatever she wants. Okay. Yes, and we get like Mark-Paul Gosselaar. Zach Morris.
Zach Morris.
He's like asking why Nancy's not eating and like why she won't get better, and she's like, "Give me a break, like, relax, like don't." She like just starts like freaking out on her family, like yelling at everybody, pretty much.
Yeah.
And she's like cooking a lot too in the house, which is like you kind of like become obsessed with like cooking and nutrition. Like I can relate to that because I actually really like cooking, but if I cooked a meal, I could control what was going in that meal.
Right.
And I knew all the calories and I knew everything going into it. You know
And
what I mean?
she was like obsessively measuring what was
Yes.
going in.
Yep.
Like,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, that is true. I relate to that a lot because, like, you know, it's stressful, like, not, again, having that control. You're, like,
Right.
very much in if you make all
Right.
the food you eat, you're controlling everything that goes in it.
Right.
There's no question. You're not, like, going to a restaurant and getting, like, mysterious who knows what's in this.
Right. Is that when she made the mac and cheese or whatever for her brother?
Yeah.
And she sits down and she serves him this like huge plate and then doesn't take any.
He's like, aren't you going to eat? And,
And
she's
she-
like, huh, yeah,
And
sure.
she puts the tiniest little spoonful on her plate and says, "Oh, I'll get seconds later." And he knows like that's not going to happen.
Yes. And she's like hiding food under her bed now. Like, you know, she's like going back to her rituals that she does. And Sally, the mom, finds the food under the bed. She's like, Nancy, what is this? And she's like, oh, I forgot it. No big deal. And then,
Well, I was petting my cat during that part. I don't remember that.
well, it's not important. But the thing that Nancy also says is like she eats at work. She's like, well, I
Oh,
ate at
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So Sally goes to the work and she's like, what is wrong with you people? Why aren't you having my daughter eat? And they're like, we are not her mother. It's not our place to
This is
fucking
not
say
our
anything.
job at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I guess you're right. I should be yelling at myself. Moving on, I'm going to skip the mall scene where they tell her she looks like Kate Moss.
Yeah.
Nancy's like lying on the couch now because she's like not eating. She's losing weight. She's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Why is she in pain?
What's the pain?
So her mom says that it's because she's only bone, so there's like no cushion.
Sure.
I think, I think like at that point your muscles are being eaten by
Right.
your body, so
so you're
don't.
probably just in achy
Yeah,
land
like,
all the time. Yeah.
everything
your body's
feels
eating
loose.
itself.
It's like
Yeah.
when you have the flu and everything just kind of hurts.
Right. And she's like wrapped in blankets because she's so cold because she
Cold.
can't.
She has
Can't regulate her body
she,
heat.
She has what dengue fever does to a person.
Yeah.
Sure. And
Yeah.
the mom's like, let me get you some soup. And she's like, I couldn't possibly eat soup. You're insane.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She can't
And-
eat anything.
Yeah.
Later that night, Tracy's rushed to the hospital because she has a kidney infection because her
Right.
organs are starting to shut down now.
Yeah.
Right. She's like got to such a place. And the doctor's like, you need to understand, parents, that she could die. And the parents are like, we know, you're the doctor, fix her. And Nancy gets hooked up to all these machines and like a lot of like you know, like
Yeah.
not a
all-
breathing tube, but like that type of like beep beep beep.
Yeah. Just yeah.
So many monitors.
It looks really, because again, the actress is very thin. It looks it's really disturbing to watch.
Yeah.
And they just don't understand like what caused this, the parents.
Yeah.
And this is where we get to the part where it's like the movie is like trying to speak to the parents of teens with eating disorders to be like, it's not your fault. They're just crazy. You know?
You're right.
Yeah.
It's
Because
like-
it comes back to the like, she's not a child who is sick. She's just a child who is causing trouble for her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Like-
like that is such a terrible thing about these movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's not helping anyone. It's not helping like a person with an eating disorder watching this movie. They're not going to
Right.
be like,
Yeah.
I'm uplifted and I it's a positive story about a person
feel
getting
support.
better.
Like, no,
No.
it's person who is no support, who is just continually shut out.
And for parents, it's like, this is not your fault. There is something wrong with your child that has nothing to do with you. It couldn't possibly be you.
Right.
You know?
When like
I wonder, like, because all of this sounds so much like addiction, and just the reverse. It's like, no, not the reverse. No, reverse in terms of behavior,
Sure.
but it's the same. Like, it's an like you're like, I will do anything
yeah,
to do this.
it's kind of like compulsions.
It
yeah,
is.
I mean
Yeah.
that's what. That's what I mean. Is
Yeah.
like that. You're just like, I know my
Yes.
rational brain is going like, no,
Right.
that's bad for you.
So the parents, again, who are like, what caused this? They're like, we need to take control of Nancy's medical ownership.
Yeah. The
I don't know what it's called.
A power of attorney.
Power of
Yeah,
attorney.
essentially.
like legal control of her well-being. So
Yeah.
she's not fit to
Make her own decisions about this.
So the dad is going to take over.
Yeah. Power of attorney.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And Nancy's like, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to get a lawyer.
And they ask the dad specifically because Nancy and her mother have such a bad relationship.
Right.
So they think like having the dad do it, it'll be easier for everybody. It's not.
No, because Nancy gets a court-appointed lawyer. She's like, I'm going to fight this. I'm not going to let them like put me in the place again. And Nancy, they like go to court. Okay, on the way to court, Nancy's like seeing all these people living like normal, healthy lives. It's like people at a barbecue, people riding bikes, people blowing bubbles. Blowing bubbles. That's a thing.
Blowing bubbles.
And
Those bubbles.
it's like the life she can't have because she's so consumed with this eating disorder.
Yeah.
You know? Which is kind of like true. Like
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
it
that
when
is
you
true.
have an eating disorder, it's like not all that you are, but it does take up a lot of mental space.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Because you have to
consumes,
eat every day.
it consumes you, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and eventually, like everything then becomes about feeding the eating disorder and not feeding yourself.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I mean, she spiraled. Like this is
Yeah.
like a rock bottom for her. So at the court, there's press there, paparazzi for some reason, very strange.
Okay.
And they're like, Nancy, what are you gonna get? Are you gonna get your life
You
back?
gonna get your shit together? What
And
are you
it was so
doing?
weird. And in the courtroom, Nancy decides to allow her father to have control. Like she
Yeah, after her dad is on the stand
Questioning
and goes
him.
through his questioning, like
I love how they
essentially-
do this with like a court system.
it's like
This
Law
would-
and Order.
This
type of
would
thing.
not be like it wouldn't be like
No,
Like,
it would be a hearing
yeah, that's what.
with like 3 people.
it
there.
is, but it's
Yeah.
set up like the
Right.
OJ
But it-
trial.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she essentially concedes
Yeah.
medical power of attorney and only medical power of attorney.
Right.
Which this movie was so cheesy, but it got a few things right.
Yes, that was one thing for sure. Because
And what the judge went on to say,
Right.
if you're going there next, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the judge makes a statement and he's like, I want to make sure everyone is very clear. Like, Nancy is not crazy. She is not like incapable of making decisions. In this aspect of her life, she needs help. So I am allowing the father to control this aspect only and
Right.
nothing else.
Right.
And that was good.
I
too.
it was like, I was pleasantly surprised by
like
that.
rational.
Like, I wasn't expecting that at all. But that kind of like very clear dialogue that's like, she is not insane.
Right.
Like, she's not incompetent, which is what
Right.
they were essentially suing for. They wanted her to be declared incompetent.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Britney Spears.
Yeah. So in order for like, so to have the
It's
judge
true,
say
it
that-
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was good.
So Nancy goes home with her family. She eats a bagel while everyone just sits out on the porch and watches her eat a bagel in the kitchen.
And she's cured.
And she's cured. We get a shot of group
she
therapy,
eats a
and then she's
bagel.
like, she may never be fully cured, but now she has the strength to save herself. And then she runs with a friend because, you can run with a friend
Yeah.
instead of running by yourself.
Right.
To show she's not alone,
Okay.
And that's how the movie ends.
All right. I mean,
Yes.
that's fair.
So, Rebecca, on the podcast, we either pour it up or put a cork in it. What are you going to do to this movie?
I'm going to put a cork in this one. Are we surprised? Probably not. There were so many things that just glossed over, they glossed over.
Right.
The movie started with her already with an eating disorder, but there were other symptoms of other mental illness that are just completely overlooked.
Right.
An eating disorder rarely comes by itself.
Right. Yeah.
So she was obviously depressed, obviously had anxiety, and that was just college jitters, that kind of thing. So
Right.
I think this is not a good movie for people who have struggled with that because, especially young people, their mental health gets overlooked so much just because they're young and they haven't lived through, quote unquote, enough to be mentally ill or have
Right.
the mental illness. And I think we need to do a better job of that. And this movie did not do that.
Right.
So I'd put a cork in this one.
Okay. Drew, what about you?
I was going to put a cork in it,
Yes.
but I'm going to actually pour it up because of that last part. Like, so they basically, it's like this ended with a judge going, look, they're not crazy. They just have an issue. Like, it's a big issue, but it's not a crazy person.
Right.
And they're not stupid. They're not,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing is like, because going through kind of these
Chronologically.
yeah, and like thinking about the more that like you guys kind of explain it to me and like what's bullshit on these movies and then
Yes.
what is actually the thing. I'm just like, I'm looking at this as just, I mean, this is very much it's identical to addiction. Like it's identical to it in terms of not saying it is
Physically, like chemically. It's not like you're
Right.
addicted to tobacco or whatever.
Right.
but it's like a mental addiction is just as, if not more, like worse, you know, than a physical addiction where it's just like, I smoke cigarettes and I get fucking real pissed off when I don't have them, and that's all I think about, and I don't care. Like I'm like, if you and don't tell me I can not smoke, it's like that kind of thing. So
and
it's the same sort of. That's how I'm relating it.
Yes,
it might not be the same, but I think it's maybe the same part of the brain, but it stems from something else, right?
Yeah.
And that is a good point of clarification probably at this time. It's 1994. We've had almost a decade of America being aware of this disease. Like, I'm sure people at that time thought, like, oh, well, if you have an eating disorder, you're crazy.
You crazy, man.
So it's like, no, you know? So, yes, I think I'm going to put a cork in it because I actually did like this movie when it came out originally. And watching it back, like going through all the stuff I'd gone through, because in 1994, I definitely did not have an eating disorder. I was a child. For real, I was actually a child.
Yeah.
But, like, watching it back, I'm like, I shouldn't have watched that as a child because it probably, like, set me up in my brain for, like, something else. You know what I mean? Like, and it's, like, very dangerous to have out in the world. So I'm happy that it's on YouTube in very small parts. Or like, you know, it's not like I mean, it is available on DVD, but no one watches DVDs anymore. I think this one can be laid to rest and, like, maybe don't watch it.
Watching back as somebody who has struggled with an eating disorder, like, a lot of it was very triggering. So
I agree with you.
If you're one of our listeners out there who has struggled, this is not a movie that I'm going to recommend to you at all. So
yeah. Well, I'm sorry that.
So in that way,
I mean,
definitely put a cork in it.
Yeah, I'm okay, guys. Don't worry.
But I agree with you. I watched it back and I was like, this was way more enjoyable when I was 7
and didn't know anything,
or however old I was.
Yeah.
Too young. And no,
You were -3.
right. Exactly.
years old.
I think I was probably like 10 or 11.
Something like that.
Anyways, so yes, put a cork in that. Before we go, we of course have our Candace. Let's do the Candace. What you say, Candace Cameron Bure. On my wedding day, catch the bouquet. Candace hates the gays. Candace Cameron Bure. Drinking rosé, eating creme brulee. Can't share with me. Candace Cameron Bure. Yeah. What you say, Candace Cameron Bure. Okay, what you say, Candace Cameron Bure, the segment where we watch Candace's Instagram and we talk about it. Normally, this segment is the lifting up portion of the podcast. Today, however, it's not. And I'm sorry, because this one actually was kind of like a heavy one to talk about. But I wanted to bring up like Candace's eating disorder and like have her talk about it, and then we'll talk about it. Because she is someone who we feature on the podcast a lot, and it is a topic that is important to me, and it is important to her as well. So we have something in common, at least.
There it is.
And it's timely.
Right.
They were both around the same age, right?
Yes. So Tracey Gold and Candace Cameron Bure were actresses around the same time. I think Tracey Gold's eating disorder was more because of the fame, and Candace's was when she stopped being famous. Okay. So their stories are a little bit different, but they are both actresses dealing with that. And I feel like actresses and models and people in the entertainment industry are always like categorized as like people with like
a lot of pressure.
Yeah. It is a lot of pressure. Yep. But like,
and it's a stereotype.
It's a stereotype. Like, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and you already have that pressure just from other things. And then, and then this adds to it.
Right.
Like exponentially.
Exactly. So I will play the clip and then we'll talk about it. But I just wanted to have Candace talk about it in her own words.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
Also, trigger warning, it's Dr. Oz.
This one is not. This is like Vogue or something.
Oh, okay, never mind. I take that back.
Did not have an eating disorder when I was a child or when I was on television. None of it had to do with body image. It never had to do with losing weight. Disease, it's a mental health issue. There are people as young as 3 and 4 years old that have body dysmorphia, that suffer from anorexia, eating disorders. They don't discriminate. I basically had used food for comfort in my life because I was in a transition period. I had just moved to Montreal. I had just gotten married. I was no longer working. It was a whole different part of my life, and I didn't know how to find my identity within that, and I had turned to food for comfort, and I did become bulimic, but it was never from a source of wanting to lose weight or the way that I looked. It was completely from an emotional standpoint. I knew I had a problem when I couldn't just say, I don't want to do this anymore, because I felt like I was on a moving train that was going at these super high speeds and I couldn't get off of it. And that's when I realized I need to reach out for help. I'm just a voice sharing my story. I've been a healthy person for more than 15 years and am thriving, and so anything I can do to help provide awareness, and it's so much more than what people think, but that there's hope and there is recovery.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that she talks specifically about it being emotional, not physical.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I will praise her for, because none of the movies do that.
No, none of them. Mm-hmm. And even Tracey Gold said in that clip that she didn't have body dysmorphia.
Yeah, just like, do you think it was body? It's like, no, I didn't give it. That had nothing to do with it.
Well, and everyone's story is personal to themselves, but having that depicted in a movie won't happen.
Right.
In this podcast that we're talking about eating disorder movies, they do not acknowledge that is a thing.
It's always the physical, which are side effects and symptoms.
It's true.
Not necessarily
right. Yeah, exactly. Like it's not. It is not the reason for it. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I can't. She was being super honest on that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't make fun of her.
Well,
for that.
and that's what sometimes when Candace.
It's really hard for me to like not make fun of Candace Cameron right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're not here to make fun of her about this.
But I can't.
What I do like is that she, is like an advocate for recovery, like that people can recover from this.
Yeah.
And hearing that and hearing like your 15 years like recovered, like that's not very often talked about.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like I had an eating disorder and I'm over it.
And this is kind of how I deal with it.
And recovery is never really finished.
Exactly.
Like it's something that you just kind of continuously do.
Right.
I thought it was interesting too that she mentioned like 3 to 4 year olds. I know, like, as I was probably 5 when I looked first in the mirror and was like, I should go for a run. Like, so I think, especially the unsolicited comments about how you look or how your friend, like, that kind of stuff, children read that. They pick up on that so young.
Even more so.
Like,
right?
Their children
when you're
are
younger.
just sponges. So a lot of the disordered behaviors, they're going to start when they're so young that you might not notice.
Well, and that's like with dieting. Like, I feel like always I was hyper aware, maybe because it was Oprah was always on a diet, or like dieting was a concept to me at a very young age.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just like society in general, always talking about diets. Like, you have to be really careful talking about that around children, because they are going to see like their parents or whoever's like they're looking up to on a diet. And they're going to be like, I should probably be on a diet too.
Right. Right. Like if,
You know.
I feel
'cause
very
it's-
lucky that I've had undiagnosed ADHD for most of my life, so I wasn't able to pay attention to anyone and what they said.
Right. I mean, but yeah, it is true. So I don't know. I mean, I have nothing to sum that up in a nice package, but I think that I enjoyed Candace talking about recovery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
being like
important.
15 years recovered. At that point, that was it's probably even more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go looking for the Dr. Oz clip that I originally talked about.
Yeah.
I think there she says some problematic things about eating disorders. So I will go ahead and say there's nothing to be ashamed of.
She's not good at improvising.
She's really not.
Right. And that was a
Thanks.
pre-filmed,
Yeah.
pre-taped thing. It
And it
wasn't
was
like
edited.
on the
It
fly.
was definitely
Yeah.
edited and stuff, too.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to having an eating disorder. If this is something you think you have, there's no shame in asking for help. Like that
Exactly.
is what's going to help you get better. People are not going to judge you for that.
No.
They're going to help you. So
Yeah. There's no judgment on that.
There's so many people that are like willing to help out everyone all
Yeah.
the time.
Right.
There's a number.
Right.
There's a phone number
Speaking
that's open 24 hours. There's people there 24 hours a day
Yeah.
being like, yeah, what's up? Well,
Yes.
I got you.
I'll say
Yeah.
the number at the end of the episode too, because this one was kind of very deep. So we will say 1-800-931-2237. Was this one I said dyslexia was a thing at the top of the show? Haha,
Yeah.
remember that?
Yep.
But no, seriously, thank you everyone for being here. Anything you'd like to plug at the pluggy time?
You can find me on Instagram at Freezer, Freser. And if you want to chat, you can find me there.
You can find me at Drew But With Pants on Instagram, or you can find my band on. I play the drums in the Limbos. It's great. We're fun. I like it. I like the
Good.
music. We're on Spotify and all those things.
Of course. Thank you both for being here again. And thank you, listeners, for checking back in with Lifetime in Court. We watch these movies, you don't have to. But if you do, we'd love to hear from you. 872-267-4117. Don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can find me at Patrick Miguel or the podcast at Lifetime in Court. Okay, that's it. Bye.
Bye.